TUCSON. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4, fuck everybody, just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Well, happy Thursday to all of my beautiful coffee beans out there that are up this early in the morning. Come on in. We got some things to discuss on the Nancy Guthrie case. Interested in your feedback? Come on in, get yourself a drink, and enjoy the show.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise to the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, fuck everybody, just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning to all of my beautiful beans. Look, you can actually see my gray today. I finally realized it's the colors above my head. I thought it was the green screen, but it's not the green screen. It's the color of the light bulbs above my head. It gives my hair this unnatural brown. So if you guys want to know whether my hair is gray or not, yes, it is. It's very, very, very gray, and I found out the culprit. It was driving me nuts. I mean, I like the hair color, just didn't suit. It's not my hair color. I don't want people seeing me on the screen and then meet me in real person and saying, "What is she doing to her hair?" I'm not doing anything to it. It's the lighting. I got no control over it. If you guys are wondering why we're ridiculously early this morning, is because I just wanted to come ridiculously. No, I'm just joking. I did not. Today is a planning meeting for me, so and I've got a whole bunch of car work I got to get done today. So I'm going to be out of pocket for most of the day, but I'm going to be making my debut over there at the county before I have to go to the dealership, and that kind of stuff. So just a busy day for me, and the only way we're going to spend some time get caught up on some information is really come early. So that's kind of where we're at this morning. I'm sorry, Keith. I saw your note coming into the chat that you needed to speak to me before the show started. Too late. So I guess I'm going to have to call you when I'm not going to have time this morning after the show. I'm going to be running out of here and going and taking care of my day. But I will call you when I'm at the dealership and when I'm because I'll have about an hour of just time I'll never get back. So if you can wait until then, we'll discuss some, whatever you've got to tell me at that point. Hopefully you guys saw the video that I dropped to you guys yesterday. I cannot play it. It's got sound behind it that's copyrighted. I've reached out to see if they'll give me permission. They're not giving me permission, so I can use like little snippets here, but I'm not going to be able to really show what I'd like to show, but I do want you guys all to be familiar with this. I told you guys to do that last night, but we didn't have a whole lot of people in the chat last night. So I don't know how many people saw that. So if you guys see this or in coming on the replay crew, hit this link, go watch this. This is an interesting little snippet. We're going to be discussing this. And what else? Do I have anything else? Okay, yes, just a recap. So I'm Bullhorn Betty. We've been covering the case of Nancy Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie is an 84-year-old grandmother that was ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night by a masked gunman. These are her children. As you see, this is Savannah Guthrie. She's well known on the Today Show, famous around the world. Many people know who she is. And so we're kind of, we don't know what happened, but we know that what we're seeing kind of defies logic. Is this a single person acting alone? Is it somebody, conspiring with others? Our audience is confused. I put out a lot of polls just to kind of gauge where my audience is, and I'm confused. So if I'm confused, I know that my audience has to be confused, because every time we try to fit something in here, it just, in all fairness, defies logic. So if it was, say, a lone person, what would inspire them to remove a woman from her home? Even if things got really, really bad, what would the motivation be to remove her from the home? I think we need to start looking at the angles of that. But that's for another show. This show here, we're talking about the ransom note. Many of us feel that the ransom notes were a red herring, that these were just potentially folks that saw an opportunity, realized that this lady was missing, there was no ransom note anybody was talking about, and decided to, make a play to try to get some type of financial reward out of this. Why people do that, I have no idea. I guess in some people's mind, it's worth a shot. It's probably the only opportunity they'll ever be at, at potentially being a millionaire. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would love to have more money than I have. I mean, I would love to be doing better for myself than I am. I'd love to be able to do more out there in the real world, because that's kind of where my heart is. But at the end of the day, we don't. But I don't see myself conning, scamming, or trying to, capitalize or exploit An 84-year-old grandmother that was ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night by a masked gunman. I mean, I just don't ever see myself, no matter how desperate I get. And I can tell you that there's people in my audience that have had struggles. And never once considered doing something this despicable and deplorable, you know? So the ransom notes are interesting because, let's face it, we all want to know, is at least one of them from the guy, right? Raise your hand. Put a 1 and a 2 in the chat. We have about 85 people. If you are part of the 85 people, go and hit that thumbs up button for me. If you haven't subscribed to this show, please consider subscribing. We talk about a lot of different subject matters related to our cases. This one's a ransom note because, let's face it, what was the purpose of taking her out of the home? Why was this planned? These all come back to probative questions we have related to this very specific case. Because if only one of those ransom notes were legitimate, then there's our motive. There's our motive. If only one of those letters are legitimate. Now, it could have been the very first one, which, if it were, I would assume, which, again, my opinion, not a fact, I would assume that if it was legitimate, it would have been the first one, okay? Now, I think if it was legitimate, and if it was the real ransom or the person that took Nancy or came in contact with Nancy, maybe the reason why they got spooked is they could not produce a proof of life. And that could have fizzled everything out. But in our opinion, I don't feel like this whole ransom note really was legitimate. Any of them. Not one. I'm in the category. How many people, let me ask you guys this. Does any of you believe, and you can write yes or no in the chat. It'd just be easier than the 3 and 4s because we're going to use those for something else. Yes or no's in the chat. Do you believe any of the ransom notes were legitimate? Any. Doesn't matter which one. I'm not going to ask you which one. Do you believe any of them were legitimate? And this is for the people that are in the chat. We're now at 117. 170 people are in the chat. Good morning, by the way, guys. I hope you're having a wonderful Thursday. But my question is, we're talking about the Nancy Guthrie case and this ransom note because we're trying to figure out why she was removed. So some people believe in the ransom note, okay, and some people do not. No rain here. Oh, Albatross. You're in Maine, southern Maine. You guys get so cold out there. So we have a few people that believe that there is a legitimate, and a few people that don't believe it's legitimate. Okay. Good morning. I haven't even said hi to everybody. Let me just stop and say hi to everybody while we've got low numbers. They're all coming from international. That's another thing, Keith. You're bringing up a valid point. Let me say hi to everybody. I haven't said hi to anybody this morning. I mean, we put you guys up on the screen here, but I haven't said hi to you. Melanie, it's nice to see you. YouTuber, Bombastic, Mama, good morning, guys. Ruthie, Rose, it's nice to see you. Melanie, Tammy, who else do we have? Stacy, good morning. Busy Mama, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Keith, it's nice to see you. You're always, it's so funny because when we're up late, you're up. When we're up early, you're up. You're up. You're go, go, go. It's funny. I wish I could have called you. I'm so sorry. I will call you. I will call you. Stacy, it's nice to see you. Who else? Jewel, good morning. Good morning, love. Albatross, it's nice to see you. Hopefully I'm pronunciating your name right. If I'm not, I apologize. I will get it one day. Work with me here. Work with me. It's nice to see you all. Who else do we have? Ruthie, did I say good morning to you? Good morning, love. Sorta Morta. Hey, babe. It's nice to see ya. I said hi to you, Tammy. Good morning. Tracy, never a thought for me either. Yeah. Yep. Good morning. Little sweet thing. Good morning, love. I hope you are doing well. Live, love, laugh. Oh, I love that. Good morning. Good morning. Hobo Mom. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, love. Lady Lexi, it's nice to see you. So now we're kind of down here where people are asking, do we believe, if you're just coming in, we're just looking to find out, do we believe that any of these ransom notes were legitimate? Because this is going to be important to our talking point for this morning. So we do have a few that believe that this is, at least one is legitimate. That's the question. You don't have to figure out which ones or anything like that, just whether you think any of them were legitimate. And most people say no. There are some people that say yes, perhaps Derek Kalella, the great one. It's nice to see you. Good morning. And everybody's asking because that Kalella guy appeared to be, in kind of the music industry. And of course, we know that that Tommaso was at one point into the music stuff and probably still does some jamming with friends and stuff like that. Because once you're in music and you play an instrument and you jam in your adulthood, it's hard not to jam in your adulthood. You usually just don't stop jamming. You usually find people just to, kick it with or whatever. So, when they were kind of touring around, did they come in contact with this Derek Kalella or somebody else? Could, and maybe we need to look at that as an angle, being that personal feeling of an angle. Maybe it's somebody from one of these people's pasts, which we have talked about it, but it doesn't seem like they're, like Tommaso is out there touring the world. He might have toured the world 20 years ago, right? But he's settled down. He's a dad now, He can't just go footloose and fancy free anymore. Is it somebody in the past that finally started targeting them, I don't know. Hey, Lisa B. Barbosa, it's nice to see you guys. Good morning, loves. Good morning. Kimberly, it's nice to see you. Erica, good morning. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm trying to make sure it pops up on me every now and again. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anybody. I feel like I've missed somebody already, but if I did, I'm so sorry. It's not my intention. It's not my intention. So good morning, everybody. So I was listening. We talked a lot about Nancy Grace because, Nancy Grace is one of my idols. You guys know that. If you've been watching this channel, there's a few people out there in the real world that just are my favorites. My favorites, okay? And some of those favorites for me are Nancy Grace. They're Vinnie Politan. I'm a major Vinnie Politan fanatic. I'm a major Nancy Grace fanatic. I've been mad at both of them. Okay, I've argued with both of them, just me and myself and I. They didn't even know Bullhorn Betty was mad at them, but I've been mad at both of them. And I've unsubscribed from both of them because I'm mad at them, okay? So I'm allowed to fight with my idols and still love them and love them to pieces. And those are the two that I really, really, really like. There's more. I'm not anti-mainstream media. I'm anti, BS new mainstream media, lazy media. That doesn't really do anything to fact check anything. They just propagate. Anyways, I'm not getting into my political whatever. But there are a few that really, Brian Enton being another one, that just, they have balls and backbones. And you guys know how I feel about balls and backbones, right? Somebody that's going to step on people's toes, that realize that they are very powerful platforms, and they don't really care. They care about the truth and only the truth. Those are the people I love, okay? And I may not agree with them all the time. You guys just heard me. I get in fights with them. They don't even know we're fighting, and we're fighting because they don't know about Bullhorn Betty. I'm just joking. Vinny knows I exist at least. He's actually, the last time I popped into his chat, he said, I'm surprised you're not out there. I haven't been out there in a while. So we need to start getting our asses out in the road. And that's where we are. We're street people, right? You guys have seen us. We're street people. We go out in the streets, okay? So that's where we belong. We don't belong in, cooped up in a house. We're street. So anyways, guys, this ransom note is very, very important. So yesterday, we had a lot of great talking points from tracking. I mean, we learned a lot yesterday. Yesterday was a great, mind-blowing day for us with Nancy Grace. So she really hit the day before's talking points and show, she hit it out of the park. She had some major bombshell information from the vanishing slash invisible car. That was really interesting for me. Things that we don't think about. We're in true crime, so hearing all this stuff, I soak it up. I'm a sponge, because these are things that may happen in the future in another case. So these weird little things, I like them. Because it's another tool in our toolbox that when we come across something that's just freaking weird, we can say, you know what? Remember that Guthrie case? This is what happened in that Guthrie case. And that's why we're focused on this. This defies logic. This is going to be something that we're going to be looking at for the future. This might be one of those cases that are a once-in-a-lifetime case for us, for this particular specific, because the Idaho 4 was a very specific case. Like that was like the first time we've ever seen a serial killer kind of come out of their shell and get caught on their very first coming out party, so to speak. And that was just a weird case and defied logic. Like who would do this to 4 students? And then we find the monster, and it's this nerd, this jerk, this lunatic, this lunatic that everybody knew was a lunatic, but tried to believe he wasn't a lunatic. And that's who did this. So it's just, I feel like it's going to be something like left field like that's going to be in this case. And I'm not giving up on Luke Daly yet, because something ain't sitting right with me with Luke Daly. I wasn't really all into Luke Daly. I didn't really consider him a person. I thought he was a putz, a dumbass. And even though we were looking at a dumbass on the screen, I didn't consider him being that dumbass. I mean, yeah, there were some things that fit, but I thought that people might be embellishing how well they fit until the hand. Now we have people that identify, they believe there's a hurt right hand, and lo and behold, we've got a guy in an interview with a hurt right hand. I'm sorry, ding, ding, ding. I've got bells going off above my head, red flags waving in front of my face, and I'm saying, okay, maybe I do need to look at this guy. So I think they need you in Tucson. Yeah, no, it would be, I would love to go to Tucson, and I agree that we should have been out there earlier. I think we would have been able to be more impactful earlier. But at this point, I don't see where we're going to have the impact, the impactfulness. The world is kind of Guthrie'd, out, so to speak. They're having fatigue over the case. The neighbors are kind of tired of all the media with no answers. I think even all the good neighbors out there that really, understand the nature of the beast, and that we need to have media out there and eyes on this if we're going to keep, keeps resources flowing. The more people that leave this case, the less resources. You guys watch it all the time. If we still had that whole road aligned with media and them cut, the no parking thing didn't drop media, they'd still be pouring a whole mess of resources into this case. But because people have already, DGL, what? Look what neighbor did to DGL on his live last night. What did they? I missed it. What happened? What happened on his live last night? What happened? I don't know what happened. I didn't watch it. I don't really watch the live streams out there so much because there's nothing to really watch. I mean, there's a few people, but when people come up on people's road or whatever, you see what I'm saying? Unfortunately, I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot I can do. I mean, even if the neighbors are getting bent out of shape, I mean, we dealt with it at Gabby Petito's, case. I had to deal with an older man coming out and yelling at us. He was the one owner of the house that didn't want to rent his house out to the media and chose to stay there. And so he was okay, but he was just something. He just had to be in control of everything as one of those people. And it's like, what do? You can't just yell at these people. This is their home, but they don't own the street. They don't own, That's what people think that because they live in a community, that's their street. It's not, it's not. It's a public street. And sometimes you just got to remind them, you do not own this road. You do not own me. You do not own my speech. You do not own my equipment. And you don't need to be rude. Just go on your way. Nobody is talking to you. If this is disturbing you, you're the problem. This is not your property. Your property is wherever you purchased. That little thing on that deed, that's your property. Everything else, you don't have any control over. Okay? And so sometimes people need to find out that. But I don't know. I really don't know. I would love to have gone out there, but I honestly believe, 1954. That's why they bring him up. There were rude people. Hold on 1 second. Let me read this. There were rude people that wanted to give him a ticket, and they heard people screaming too. Oh, well, a ticket for what? I mean, this is if they're gonna be starting to ticket people, I mean, I'll start going down there, because it's very clear that they got my message. I already told, if they keep me informed, I'm not gonna be coming in. I told the public information officer. So she wrote me, back. And so but I don't know if I'm going to go out there. I mean, what could us going out there accomplish? We have no areas to search. I have no team to help me search. I've got, I'm not going to go out there and set up shop in front of this lady's house when we already have feeds in front of this lady's house. The only thing what could I really do? Go and scream at the sheriff? And what's that going to accomplish? I mean, if we had a game plan here, if we had, some type of objective, like I know when I go into Sumner County, I know exactly what my objective is. It's to drive the freaking sheriff nuts and beg for a freaking press conference and show the world how much of a dumbass he is and unprofessional he is. Like, I have an objective. Going out here, what would our objective be? I mean, let's talk turkey. If you guys want me to go out there, for what purpose? What purpose would Bullhorn Betty be able to provide to this case? In reality, what could I provide to this case? We can't get the sheriff ain't doing. He's gonna just work the way he's just gonna work. He's gonna hold on to this case. Did you see what Brian Enton showed of her? Yeah, I did. It's that's what I was talking about yesterday. I try to explain my experiences here on this platform, and at the end of the day, when I was being attacked by hate channels, they went through my entire life. They went through my before I could even lock the stuff down, because I didn't know I needed to. They had already been through all of my private Facebook, personal stuff, reaching out to people. It was really, really bad. And so hearing that this lady didn't really have a whole lot of security, and she was on the Today Show, and she showed the whole world her bedroom and the layout of her home, and a lot of people in many cases this wouldn't be a huge deal. But in this society where everybody wants something for nothing, it can be a big deal, especially when somebody targets you. They go through your entire life. They find out every little bit of thing that they can find out. I've had to do it, because I've had a bully that was bullying me. I can't remember the girl's name anymore, but she lived in North Carolina, and I had to watch a whole mess of videos of her from really, really early on, before she started being anonymous, so to speak. And I was able to locate her home, locate her house, locate her name, and then ultimately let her know I found her, right? Just to stop messing with me. So I know what goes in also to trying. So having these things out online, did they make her more of a target? I don't know if they necessarily made her more of a target. No, Joe Neal, I can see you just fine. Good morning. Why would you think you're blocked? Did you do something wrong? Did you change your name and come back in and say, I wonder if this account's been blocked by Betty yet? How much stuff can I stir up this morning, Joe? Is that what you're going to do? Come on, Joe. Why would we block you, Joe? Good morning. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. Even if you've been previously blocked on the Bullhorn Betty Show, welcome back. You're not blocked. Good morning, Laura. Oh, look who it is. Be Betty fan. We got you out of bed a little early this morning, don't we? Oh, good gracious. Okay, so let's get back to this. Obviously, Nancy Grace has really been hitting it out of the park. And now that we're on day 40, it's hard to believe, day 40. It's been 40 days since this 84-year-old grandmother was ripped out of her home, out of her bed, by a masked gunman. I just still, the fear, the terror. I mean, those are the things that make us all fight, is because how dare somebody do that to anyone, let alone an 84-year-old frail grandma. And so as we're breaking this stuff down, we're going through a lot of possibilities. And one was this invisible car, this, vanishing car, so to speak, where they're using that jammer to make their car invisible on data. That might be something smart that I've never considered before, and it's sad that we're talking about it, because now it's probably going to be another tool that the criminals decide to use if they didn't know about it previously, right? So there's a lot of stuff that we don't know, but I also brought out my walkie-talkie, because we have walkie-talkies. When we were out in the field as a team, we'd be going in different directions, and we needed a way to communicate with each other in case we got lost. And so we all had walkie-talkies. It appeared that we had that could have possibly been a walkie-talkie antenna versus a jammer antenna. And then I was thinking, that would be awfully loud to have a walkie-talkie in the dead of night around somebody's house. So I remember my walkie-talkie specifically came with an ear and mouth, like a earpiece with a speaker that went up to my mouth. Did we see any line or anything on that mask? And if not, we need to be looking for that, because there is a possibility that they were communicating with somebody. And if that is the case, and we can identify he was using a walkie-talkie, well, then we know that there are multiple people involved. If not, if we don't see that, then it probably is a jammer, because I don't see anybody speaking on a walkie-talkie at night. I don't know about you, but I just don't see it happening. Hey, DeBoss, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. So let's get into this. We learned yesterday there's a possibility of tracking with the hearing aids, which was mind-blowing. And if you guys did not watch that segment, I think that was our noon segment, our lunchtime segment, you're going to want to watch that. Even if it doesn't apply to this case, you're going to want to watch that. They believe that maybe she had a second set of hearing aids that were missing from the house. Now, guys, why is this coming about? Look, we found out something yesterday that was pretty interesting. And that was, it appears that Cameron's still in the area. We all thought Cameron went home. I think Cameron, remember that time that they moved that truck inside the house? Do you guys remember that? And they closed the garage door, and we thought it must have been the family going through there. I think they dropped Cameron off in that house, and I don't think they wanted to let anybody know Cameron was staying there. And I think Cameron was going into that house, and I think he was going through everything in that house to find out if there's anything in that house that's missing. I don't know if that's the case, but we never seen Cameron. And then all of a sudden, I'm hearing yesterday that he gets into Annie's SUV, and she gets a white car, or a white car pulls up, and her Subaru, not an SUV, Subaru, was maybe driven by Cameron away from the house. She went one way, he went the other way, and they left the house. That's what I heard. Now, I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. I didn't personally watch that. But I did hear, hey, Lily, it's nice to see you. Pete, it's nice to see you. Good morning, loves. I hope you're doing well. Sonia, good morning. So I don't know if that's the case, but if that's the case, maybe they did decide to put somebody in that house to go through it to find out if anything's missing. I hope they did, because what we're listening to here, in my opinion, doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. So, what was the purpose of the person being there? If this was a lone person that targeted her to rob her, why didn't they take at least something? Jewelry or something? What was she wearing? Did she wear high value jewelry to sleep? Maybe not take it off at night? I would think that would be highly dangerous. I don't like choking on, you may not, but as you age, I think we toss and turn a little more. I don't like having things right around my neck at night. I like loose, clothing. I don't know. I agree. I think he was staying there too. Yeah. And this was interesting. And maybe that's the reason why they put all those cameras around the house, so he would know if anybody's trying to break in. Maybe they had a theory that maybe the person ended up hurting the mom, but really wanted something out of the house and might return to the scene of the crime to steal whatever they originally stole. I don't know. So we had the walkie-talkies, or the jammer. We had the invisible car. We had the hearing aids, the invisible car, and I can't remember what the first one. We had a good discussion. Well, last night, right when we were getting ready for our final show for the evening, Nancy Grace did a show, and this one was kind of, there were some parts in here, wasn't completely consumed by the ransom note, but the ransom note did take center stage to me, because I ask the question all the time, and many of us believe that this ransom note is a red herring, that it didn't come from the assailants that took, at least some of us. I know that there are other people. I don't want to discount you guys. I know that some of you guys do believe at least one of the ransom notes were legitimate. But for the rest of the majority, you do not believe. So if that is the case, why not just release the ransom note? Why not inform us, or let us see what was in it and how it was worded, and what the behavior of that person, whether we can determine whether AI was involved with the creation of that ransom note, or other information, how was it derived? I think our worry box would close if we had that. And so why don't they just release it, especially if it's a nothing burger, right? If it's a nothing burger, why not release it? I think it would help all of us understand a little bit more. So that's kind of where we are with the Nancy Grace. She actually discussed this yesterday, and I believe, is this the right one? 39. This is day 40. Hard to believe, day 40, but it is day 40. Give me just a second. There it is. So we need to go up just a little bit. What? The porch guy. That's where I wanted to be. Okay, there we go. Oh, I guess this is it. Okay, I guess this is it.
With this many agents on the ground, all the personnel, all the technology, how is it possible? Tonight, we take a close look at exactly what the FBI is looking at. The tattoo on the porch guy's wrist. What can we learn? Believe me, a lot. This as the Pima County Sheriff issues an urgent plea for everyone in the surrounding area to hand in video. Will it make a difference? Well, when you don't know a horse, look at the track record. The answer is yes. Also, at this hour, the FBI Behavioral Analyst Unit carefully reviewing not just the porch guy video, but the alleged ransom note. Why? Good evening.
So now you guys get it. That's what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be discussing the ransom note, and that's what we're discussing. We're not discussing anything else other than the ransom note. Give me just a second. All right, I think this is it. Sorry guys, I've got to make sure I'm staying where you can see her on Peacock. She's the author of Deal Breaker. Okay, so this is Brittany. Let's go here. We'll start right there.
Bethany Marshall joining us, renowned psychoanalyst out of the California jurisdiction. You can see her on Peacock. She is the author of Deal Breakers, and you can find her at drbethanymarshall.com. Dr. Bethany Marshall, the FBI and local law enforcement has kept close to the vest the ransom notes. I'm not sure why, but it seems to me that a lot could be gleaned from the ransom notes. And let me just throw out the example of Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. His manifesto, remember, it was finally published in the New York Times. Once it was published, and he terrorized our country for decades, murder meant nothing to him. His brother recognized certain vernacular phrases, phraseology in the manifesto and said, that's got to be my brother, for Pete's sake. Then there's BTK, Bind, Torture, Kill, Dennis Rader. He taunted oh my goodness, there he is dressed up in the victim's clothing, freak. He taunted law enforcement and media with these typewritten notes. Idiot. Of course, the typewriter can be tracked back to a certain typewriter, even not just with the keys with an older model, but with a ball type.
Which is a little bit different. I mean, we don't have, and there was a lot of forensics that could go into typewriters and stuff, but now we have computers. And I'm not sure, I'm sure computers leave some type of receipt or numbers or something that identifies, documents, maybe something that identifies document. Yeah, I know that was creepy. I watched too much true crime to just trust anyone. Mom was livid about that. She did background checks on her friends before she even let them over. That's good. That's what we, this in today, it sounds crazy, but in today's society, that's what we recommend. If anybody, and people have reached out to me because they know I have background, services here. And they've asked me to check this person out or check that person out. I'm always willing to help out, to find something, it's all public records. So, I'd rather you guys being safe than anything. Yeah, it might have an IP address or some type of, it has something. But, back in the day, you could get typewriters and you could identify the typewriter because there might be a chip in one of these letters up here, that's just unique to that typewriter. It was really clever how law enforcement did, even back in the days when we didn't have all the technology we do. And they solved cases. It's hard to believe they solved cases, but it's stuff like this. But we don't have that this day and age. This stuff is coming via internet. And while we have IP address, we also have programs to mask those IP address. So it gets a little more difficult.
Such as found on the IBM Selectra. You can get it from the
Cindy,
ribbon
welcome.
in a Selectra. So the use of a typewriter.
Oh, great.
In
great
our
point.
case, the use of email.
That is a good point. Rue's bringing up that they never mentioned anything about her cane.
Content of those ransom letters could tell me a lot. This video from our friends at IBM. And of course, there's John Benet Ramsey, for Pete's sake. Who says hints? Who do you know, except me occasionally, that uses the word hints? Hints. That's what the ransom letter said. So why are they keeping it close to the vest, and what can we learn from the ransom letter, Dr. Bethany?
Nancy, those ransom notes are a treasure trove of information. For instance, the BTK killer was a very rigid, regimented guy. Remember, he was a local dog catcher. He would measure everybody's grass on their lawns to make sure it didn't grow too much. And the way he wrote the typewritten ransom note reflects those characteristics because it's very rigid, very small type. But moving on to Nancy Guthrie, it can tell us what the intent or the motivation of the kidnap is. For instance, if the motivation is simply money, then the ransom note is going to be fairly short with very detailed information about how to send the money. However, if it's more like a kidnap because somebody is stalking Nancy,
And I'm sorry, but was Nancy being stalked? Because we're hearing that there was a strange guy in the neighborhood about 2 weeks prior to Nancy disappearing. That's what we're hearing. Brian Enton's kind of been leading the charge. He's got a neighbor that allows him to park at her house. And he had an opportunity to interview her. And she talked about this strange guy walking by her house. And that, her birthday was on January 8th. This was a few days after. So we're right around that January 11th time frame. Does that really show stalking? I mean, we see the scoping in the casing the joint. We know that the joint was cased. But casing and stalking are two totally different behaviors. Totally different behaviors. For example, Brian Koberger, in my opinion, stalked. He was by that house too many times. 12? How many times was this guy by Nancy's house? Right now, we can identify at least one time and 2 times prior to. 2 times. How do I know that? Because he was sitting in front of her camera days or weeks before, allegedly around January 11th, on her camera at night. At night. But you have to remember, the neighbor saw somebody scoping out the place during the day. So if this person was the same person, now we have at least 2 prior trips to her house that we can attribute to this guy. At least 2, one during the day and one at night. Is that stalking, or is that still casing the joint? I would beg to say it's casing the joint, because maybe the person was trying to identify what would be the best way to enter that house during the day or at night. So he would probably have to look at 2 different options, and he would have to make the decision after being there at night and after being there during the day. Maybe during the day he realized there was just too many people up and about, that there's too many people, that stay home. This is a more affluent area. People may work at home more than work in an office or leave their home. Maybe that during his trip out there during the daytime, he realized there was a lot of people, way too many people home throughout the day. So how many times did he truly come by there to case the joint? Or did he stalk her? There are 2 different behaviors, and maybe we need to identify that, because this lady makes a valid point about whether whether Nancy was stalked or not, like a handyman. Yeah, there's, and we did not dismiss, and we actually even spoke about potentially this being maybe not even an employee or somebody directly related to Miss Nancy, but might have been related or seen her or saw the Today Show and realized, oh my gosh, Nancy Guthrie, Savannah's mother, lives in this very affluent area. She must be wealthy too. Let me go by there and see if I can see her house. Oh my gosh, there's her house. She doesn't even have security. She doesn't even have a gate. Maybe I should come back here later and see, Everyone should be subscribed. Bullhorn pal. Thank you, baby love. That's sweet. That's sweet. It's always best to live where there is only one way in and one way out. Easier to tell if you're being watched. Yeah, I live on a cul-de-sac road. But this place in here is like a maze. But the one thing I think that we can deduct from all of this is, how can somebody reasonably move about that area in the middle of the night without crashing into a cactus? So, if it's somebody not from that area, I don't see, I see them driving like they're not from that area. You know what I'm saying? And everything that we saw on those cameras, especially the ones 2.5 miles away, it looked like everybody knew where they were going. So if that person had Nancy in the car or passed one of those cameras, then it sounds like they are from that area, because I've seen that area. I know my driving skills. I would think I could do pretty stinking good driving. But, when your heart is beating a mile a minute, and those roads just start splitting and wying and crossroading. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Let's get back.
they're obsessed with her, they're obsessed with Savannah or maybe one of the other siblings, then there's going to be more of a manifesto type quality. These people, stalkers love to write about
No
it, they love to talk about it.
manifesto.
So in this case, we would see somebody putting a lot of information into.
No manifesto, folks. So um, maybe we need to start looking. Maybe that needs to be a talking point. Let's look at how many people have done abductions and had manifestos or, ransom notes. I mean, and look at the ones that didn't. And maybe we should look at some elderly missing people and how their disappearance in this area has affected them, because she's not the only one that's disappeared. She's not the only one that disappeared around this time. The other elderly lady around her age from Pima County was found and was found safe. So, we don't have a grandma snatcher in Pima County, at least that we can identify like as a grandma snatcher. So, we're looking at something different here. We're looking at either a robbery or something close. We have not changed our position hasn't changed since the beginning of this case. And it's sad because we don't even have a vehicle. How do we not have a vehicle? Is it because it was a vanishing vehicle? An invisible vehicle to the data world? Did they jam their signal in their car so they could get away scot-free? Is that how they've been able to rob people's houses undetected? Have they been using this method for a while? Maybe we need to have a talking point on that. But today it's about the ransom. Is the ransom legitimate, and why haven't they released the ransom notes? Let's find out.
That ransom note. Nancy, there are also what I call affectations. These are verbal flourishes that people use to make what they're talking about appear way more important than it really is. And I tend to think of criminals as being rather narcissistic, shallow, empty people who have to prop themselves up. So they would be more likely to use an affectation, like maybe the.
So most of these criminals are narcissistic. Not shocking.
Misuse of a big word that makes them feel like they're very smart, and they misuse that word all the time. So, and the public is going to be fascinated. One other quick thing, Nancy, it's important to know what the writer of the note saw in Nancy Guthrie's room that could be verified, because is it something that any kidnapper would see, like a kidnap for ransom, or is it something that a stalker would see?
Ooh. I like how she's doing this. Because she, we've got, I think this will help identify, what type of targeted this is. Is this targeted for financial gain or targeted for some type of infatuation, jealousy? It's just weird because we know that that there's ability for these stalking, and stalking is more common than you might think, especially in this day and age. It's a lot more common than you think. It's scary. It's a scary world out there. And like the Idaho 4, they didn't even know they were being stalked. When I was on here, I knew, because the dumbasses were very public on their channels what they were doing, and they were bragging about it. Here, nobody's bragging about this, so she could have been stalked and not known about it. It's one thing to be stalked and know about it. You kind of look behind you, make sure nobody's following you. You kind of have, some type of ability to protect yourself. But when you're being stalked and you don't know about it, like the Idaho 4, that's almost 10 times scarier, because you don't know, and by the time you find out, it's almost too late. It's too late at that point. That's scary.
Maybe a family photograph, or maybe, I hate to say it, a pair of underwear, a pair of stockings, something highly personal that the kidnapper would want to have control over in order to gain proximity to the victim.
Bethany, point well taken. The video we were just showing is from our friends to the Today Show. To Brian Fitzgibbons, what do you make
There it
of
is.
law enforcement
This
holding
is-
on to the ransom notes. And remember,
I like his response on this, and it makes total sense. And this is where you guys need to these are the types of details that give you the insight on the way FBI thinks. And you have to put this into your toolbox, because later down the road when we're talking about something else and we're dealing with the FBI, we are going to be able to say, guys, this is the way the FBI functions. This is why we're not hearing stuff. What he is about to tell you guys is 100% true. So pay attention to what he's saying.
there were threats to Nancy Guthrie in there. Now, one theory is that the description of the inside of her home was given because they could no longer offer proof of life.
Poor Flower says they did
They
know
could
they had
not
a
send a
sucker.
photo or a video of Nancy Guthrie to show proof of life. That's one train of thought. But there were threats against Nancy and details regarding the inside of her home. So why not release the ransom notes? Fitzgibbons, you've got a theory.
Listen.
Yeah, so first of all, the FBI doesn't do things because they have nothing to lose. They do things when they have something to gain. And in this case, I believe we do know quite a bit about the ransom notes that were sent to.
So, did you guys hear that? The FBI does not do things to appease us. If they do anything, it's because they are reaping a benefit from doing it. When they released those videos of the masked intruder, they did it to spark more people calling in. They always look at what will benefit the FBI and their investigation before they do anything. If it will not benefit them, they don't care. Okay? So why are these ransom notes not coming out? Because they're not going to produce anything. There's nothing. In my opinion, we're not going to be able to help them identify anything. Everything's digital when it comes to these. If we could see a handwriting pattern, yes. If we could see a speech pattern, yes. They may have determined AI was involved, that's why it's perfect sentence structure. And because of that, we're never going to see a writing style. There's nothing that's going to be identifiable to a specific person. Maybe that's the reason. So there's no benefit to the FBI on releasing these things. We want to see them, but the FBI doesn't care what we want to see. They only care about advancing the case, which is their only goal, is to find out what happened to Nancy Guthrie, not to appease the public.
To the media outlets, that they were delivered via email. They were not. And in this case, I believe we do know quite a bit about the ransom notes that were sent to the media outlets, that they were delivered via email. They were not that long. The writing wasn't that long. And similar to Ted Kaczynski, his manifesto released by the FBI in 1995 had over 35,000 words. So the
Wow.
FBI was very confident in that case that someone might be able to identify his ideology, his writing style, things that he was saying in that long, detailed manifesto. In John Benet Ramsey's case, this was a handwritten letter, okay, that someone may be able to identify the handwriting, the way that words join together. So I think in this case, it's that the FBI has determined that they don't have anything to gain. There may be a chance that copycat demands are sent out if that's released, and that it distracts from the momentum of the case.
Joining us now, Jeffrey Gentry, forensic certified.
So I absolutely, that makes 100% sense to me as to why we do not have the ransom note. Do I like it? No, I want to see the ransom note. I'm a nosy broad. We do investigative journalism here, among a lot of other different talents that we have on the Bullhorn Betty channel, i.e. Bullhorn. But at the end of the day, law enforcement hasn't deemed that it would benefit them at all in releasing this. As a matter of fact, they've determined that if they release it, it could actually complicate the case. And so that's why they are failing to release the ransom letters. There was multiple. And I don't know if we necessarily need to see the letters. I think I just want to find out if law enforcement thinks at all that any of them, one, could possibly be the legitimate ransom note. Do they believe that any of them could look like they are legitimate? That's all I want to know, because if there's one that's legitimate, well, that changes our theories just a little bit. That gives us another fact that we can utilize to either eliminate a theory or, start. And people are wondering, what does it matter? Well, you guys are asking, why don't I come out there? Why don't I, and I'm saying, well, what benefit could we be? If we had some angles, we had some benefit here. If we could determine who might be, culpable in all this, and then start diving into their life, I believe that people act I believe that, you don't change your stripes or your spots, right? And so I believe people, especially people that are in their 30s or 40s or late 20s, they're kind of starting to set in their own behaviors, their own ways. So they act in a certain behavior, they act in a certain way, they go to certain places, they feel comfortable in certain places. So, for example, if this was a lone person or somebody that's in a conspiracy, say with a secondary person, well, when you identify who those two people may be, then you start looking in their background, you start looking where they hung out when they were teenagers, you start identifying areas where they may feel comfortable in working, because Nancy had to go somewhere, and we're looking for Nancy. So we're trying to identify possibly areas that we could search, and if we could do that, then I have a benefit of being out there. We have targeted areas, we have targeted searches. Now we can start getting a hold of any landowners or whatever to see if they mind us going and stomping around back there. Then we have a purpose, then we have an objective, then we know where we're going. But until we identify what objective I would have going out there, then me just spending money to go out there is going to be taking a match to money and just burning it. And quite frankly, it's going to cost me about $2,500. That $2,500 can go to my legal expenses. So I'm looking at a lot of different things. If we have the objective, I will spend the money. But right now, we don't have any objective that's defined by this channel to say, hey, we need to go out there. We could be a benefit out there. I mean, we could bring some attention to the case. But right now, JLR is bringing a lot of attention to the case. I looked yesterday, he had like 23,000 people in his chat. I mean, granted, the story used to be, when we were there, I think he had like 55,000 or 60,000 when he was breaking this case, and now he's about down to half of that. That shows you the fatigue that many people have that have given up and lost hope on ever hearing whether Nancy Guthrie is going to be found again. But he's keeping people. So, what real purpose would I have out there in this, makeup? I mean, if he leaves and there is still a desire to have cameras out there, then maybe I would go out there. Then I would be a benefit. I would turn my cameras on and be able to show you guys what is now no longer being shown by media. Then I'd have a benefit of being out there. But anything short of that, we're wasting time and money. You understand? And it's very hard on my body because we're going 2 hours one way and then coming back 2 hours the other. So you're talking about a lot of beating up of my psyche as well, which again, I don't mind doing it. But when we do things like this, we have a clear objective of what we're going out there to do. And here, everybody wants me to come out for what? Nobody's told me where my purpose belongs out there in Arizona. Am I going to be searching? Am I going to be, kicking up a fuss? And if so, for what? I mean, is anything I'm going to do going to help turn this case over to the FBI? Is anything I'm going to do? JLR is actually doing a good job and great service by remaining there. Exactly. I mean, anyways, it's just that I don't see any benefit for me being out there. It would be, I get it. I would like to go, but until somebody can express benefit for me, I'm not going to raise money on this channel to go out there, period. But if somebody can can discuss and convince me that there's something that we can do that will provide a benefit to this case, I'm keeping my butt here. Okay? If we wanted to be out there, we should have been out there weeks ago, the way I look at it. Okay? That's because we would have had, if we were out there weeks ago, we would have been boots on the ground. We would have gotten the inside information of what everybody thought, and then we could be going back and looking at some of those things and starting our investigation, but right now I've got nothing. It sounds like the neighbors are kind of at their wits end. They're already starting to be rude to people, and I'm telling you, I'm not the one that puts up with that shit. People start talking to me, I start screaming at them. Okay, you're not going to talk to me like shit. I don't know who you are, and that doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. But that, I know my attitude. I'll be nice to like I've got this much of a and then after that you're screaming at me. I scream back, right? So it just, I don't see where that is going to help, and until we can, you are bringing attention to case right where you are. That's what I'm saying. So if we go out anywhere, it's to help, okay? Whether it's to apply pressure, whether it's to just commentate and investigate for our audience, right? It's never to try to solve cases. It's never to be the detective. It's to inform, to inform and to demand transparency. That's what we do here. If we can help and we can raise awareness, then that's a cherry on top, right? That's a cherry on top when we're out there. But again, I do agree that there's nothing that's going to be garnered that's going to benefit, the feds releasing the ransom note. But I still wish that if they're nothing burgers, what could it hurt? And if somebody could, and maybe somebody does know who may have authored one or two of those. Why would we be taking away from that? And I want to remind everybody, we've got $1.2 million reward. This is one of the largest rewards that I have ever seen in any case that we've ever covered. And I would love nothing more than to have somebody in my audience that knows information, that does the right thing, and gets that $1.2 million reward. I'd love that for you. I really do. I'd love that for you. I'm one of those people that love seeing people do good. I love seeing people do good. I love people being rewarded for good. I'm not one of those jealous people like, oh my God, I wish it was me. We love people doing good. We want people to come out. We want people not to forget Nancy Guthrie. We want people to be searching for her. We want people to be hungry for $1.2 million. We want to find Nancy Guthrie and bring her home. We need more people involved. If this really is a person that acted alone, there is a friend that had a friend come to them say, I fucked up. Okay? Excuse my language, but I'm using language that they would be using. Somebody has a friend that did that to them. If this is a lone person, somebody got a call. Somebody had that oh shit call. And that's what we call the oh shit factor. Okay, that means that, things didn't go the way you wanted. Bada bing, bada boom, somebody's dead. Oh shit. Don't know how that happened, right? And they're so overcome with anxiety and grief because they don't know what to do, that they just act irrational. And this could be, even her leaving could be irrational. Brian Enton is doing an excellent job. Oh, Brian Enton always does an excellent job. I think the reason why, but he doesn't roll 24/7. Jonathan rolls 24/7. That's the difference. That's the difference of social media and mainstream media. They don't have the ability to run completely. They don't have the ability to run completely all the time and just have an open stream like, Jonathan. Jonathan has an open stream. There's the streamers out there are streaming. Mainstream media, yeah, they're doing a great job. Brian Enton's hitting it out of the park. He's got a lot of good he works for a great company, works for News Nation, and they've got a lot of insight and a lot of sources around this country and in a lot of different departments because I think they're owned by Scripps, which again, Scripps has a lot of well-known journalists, and those journalists have well-known sources that they've acquired over the years. When you hire somebody on your team, you're not just necessarily hiring that talking head to your news organization. You're adding that talking head to your news organization sometimes for the sources that they have, because they're the ones that have those sources. So it's like, whenever you're maybe in sales, maybe some people are in sales, and you change jobs and you take that book of business with you because that's your book of business. Some people hire you because of your book of business, not necessarily because they like you. Okay, I'm just going to let you know. So if you are in sales, always be careful with the contracts and always make sure that your book of business is transferable. I was always very adamant with my contracts. My clients went with me wherever I went. So I was loyal to my clients. My clients were loyal to me, but I wanted to make sure any company I work for, if I bring clients in, they come with me when I go out. So, I would never sign anything that that made my clients their clients. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Is there not a significant difference between kidnapping and manslaughter? Oh, yeah, there's a significant difference, because kidnapping does not imply death. Manslaughter implies death. I would have thought that they would be the reason not to return. Yeah, so it wouldn't even be manslaughter. This would be a second-degree homicide. You're talking about a life sentence for whoever. When you break into somebody's home and somebody dies in the commission of that crime, that is a felony that you chose to make. That is, they might even be able to say a first-degree homicide because he brought a gun to that. So he intentionally and willfully broke into that house. Therefore, anybody that dies from that could be deducted as a first or second degree homicide. Depends on how much bullcrap you gave to the cops. But I can see where they can turn that into a first degree homicide, a capital crime, very, very quickly. Second degree basically means that you didn't plan to do it, but somebody died. Felony homicide is almost an open homicide. It's just basically telling the jury to pick what degree it is, from my understanding. Some of these charges are. Put your logo up or something. Nobody tells me what to do. Sorry. Natchbull. I'll probably keep it up here 10 times longer just because you told me to change it. I'm telling you, I'm a stubborn woman. You don't want to be coming and pushing me around on my own show. I'm just saying, not playing. You can pray with me. Don't play with me. Thank you for joining. Yes, let's not forget to thank the new people for joining. So let's go back. We'll go back about 30 seconds here and listen to what he has to say.
Detailed manifesto. In John Benet Ramsey's case, this was a handwritten letter, okay, that someone may be able to identify the handwriting, the way that words join together. So I think in this case, it's that the FBI has determined that they don't have anything to gain. There may be a chance that copycat demands are sent out if that's released, and that it distracts from the momentum of the case.
Joining us now, Jeffrey Gentry, forensic certified analyst with quite the expertise with law enforcement and tattoos, obviously. But Jeff, what do you make of them refusing to release his ransom note? Or any of them, providing they are in fact connected?
Any of them.
A lot of times when there is a police investigation and there is something specific that the police do not want to release, it's usually because it's unique, and it can be a unique identifier of this suspect. So say, for example, the suspect mentioned something that nobody else would know or nobody else would say. You don't want to just release that information to the public, because then everybody's going to know it.
So maybe they feel that there might be one that is potentially legitimate. This would be a game changer. Oh, thank you, Sheila. Bless you, my child. I appreciate you. Somebody get Natchbull out of here. That person's going to drive me up a freaking wall.
when they start questioning this suspect, when they catch them, they want to be able to ask them about this specific information that maybe no one else would say or nobody else would be able to identify. That way they can know that they have the right person. So that there's usually a reason that you don't release this information to the public. And that's usually why. You want to have something in your pocket to be able to ask these people that is going to trigger a reaction and be able to be used as a unique identifier when they apprehend this suspect. So that's my theory on why they're not releasing this information to the public, because they have something specific that they're going to be able to use to identify this suspect when they catch them.
Wow. So, according to this expert, they believe maybe at least one of those ransom notes, at least implied, at least one of those ransom notes might actually be legitimate. Interesting. Again, this is just a perspective. This person is not affiliated with this case and therefore does not know. So we're not passing around misinformation or saying this is their experience, their opinion. And I want to make sure that that's clear. Everything that you've heard on this show today from these people are just their opinions. Nancy Grace, the two people, the woman, the man, and then this man, those are all experts in their field. So they're providing what they feel based on their experience in their field, what might be going on or how things might be handled or why things might not be done. That is just their opinion. Again, not fact. However, I do believe it is true that law enforcement, the FBI releases information that they will benefit from and nothing more, nothing less. So they haven't found a benefit yet to releasing those ransom notes. And as a matter of fact, are concerned that maybe something out would be out. So thank you, Sheila. Lisa B. Burglary is the unlawful entry into a building, dwelling, or structure with the intent to commit a crime inside. Kidnapping included, in my opinion. Exactly. And if somebody died as in the commission of that, you're dealing with a homicide here. You're dealing with most likely, at minimum, a second-degree homicide. I don't believe it would be a manslaughter charge. I believe it would be a second-degree homicide. Because of the extenuating circumstances of burglarizing and kidnapping, I think that even heightens that charge and actually would be in the first degree. So, if this is somebody that worked with somebody else, if that is the case, if you are the getaway driver, I would be making a deal. You're not going to get the $1.2 million, but I would be making a deal. Because I'm telling you, you're going to be spending it's whether you're going to be spending 10, 15 years in jail or the rest of your life, or, going to do they have a death penalty in let's look and see if they have the death penalty. I think they're one that has the death penalty in Arizona, but they just don't, they have a moratorium. So Arizona maintains the death penalty with 107 inmates on death row as of early 2026. The state utilizes lethal injection and gas, with recent discussions surrounding reintroduction of the firing squad. So just saying, doesn't sound like Arizona plays too much when it comes to criminals like this. So if you were involved in this case at all, I wouldn't, it sounds like you guys might be part of that firing squad. Sounds like Arizona is not playing. And I'm pretty sure after this case, if the firing squad was on the fence, I'm sure it just got tipped over to the other side of that fence. So if you are affiliated in any type of this crime at all, they will find you. It's just a matter of time. If I were you, I would be getting a freaking immunity agreement. I would be working on something, because I can't imagine anybody thought this lady was going to die. So if this is you, we can only lead you to water. We cannot make you drink. But I can tell you this is bigger than you can imagine. I wouldn't be messing with this. If the lady is gone, the lady is gone. You know what you've done. I would be stepping up to the plate and be working through my attorney to find a way out. That's what I would be doing. I wouldn't be denying that this happened, because when it comes around, after you making everybody do all this damn workout in that heat and hurting themselves, you're going to pay. You will pay. You will pay. You have every opportunity to step up to the plate and do the right thing today. Not tomorrow, today. Time to change your life. If you've made a mistake, it is time to change your life. Now, if this is the lone person, if it is a lone person, which I don't know what that thing was in his pocket, and that's going to determine whether he was acting alone or not, in my opinion. If it's a jammer, he may be alone. If it's a walkie-talkie, well, we have a group of people. It's going to come down to what was in his pocket. What was in his pocket? In my opinion, something not right when they refuse EquiSearch and the Cajun Navy. Well, Cajun Navy I kind of understand, but not EquiSearch. First of all, Cajun Navy, and it's not Cajun Navy. Everybody keeps confusing Cajun Navy with the United Cajun Navy. The United Cajun Navy is much different than the Cajun Navy 2016. I learned this. I spoke to the people at Cajun Navy 2016. They are the legitimate Cajun Navy. They are not involved in this. The United Cajun Navy is the one. They are a completely different outfit. Yes, and this is what upsets me about mainstream media, because nobody is doing their homework about the United Cajun Navy. They are assuming that the United Cajun Navy is the Cajun Navy 2016. They are not. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing. And the second thing is they are more water rescue. Okay? They are more water rescue. All of theirs, Katrina, and again, the United Cajun Navy was not even in inception during Katrina. So, again, they are a nonprofit, but they're a nonprofit that put United in front of the Cajun Navy to try to steal their history. And this is something that I did find out back during this Sebastian Rogers case. So for me to sit here and sit quiet about this United Cajun Navy, I'm not going to do it, because the United Cajun Navy is not the Cajun Navy 2016. I'm not going to sit here and say that they are the 2016 Cajun Navy, because they're not. They are not the outfit that was out there in the waters rescuing people during Katrina. That is Cajun Navy 2016. I have spoken to the people. I went to their website. I saw the date that their website was developed. I know that that is the accurate United Cajun Navy. This, or not United, but Cajun Navy 2016. This United Cajun Navy was formulated, I think, like several years after. So I understand why they're not working with United Cajun Navy, because they're not Cajun Navy. They're United Cajun Navy, and then moreover, they are water experts, not land experts. However, with that caveat, EquiSearch I do know. EquiSearch I am very familiar with. EquiSearch, this show does support. EquiSearch is a company that knows how to search for people, and not just water searches. So I don't understand why they wouldn't be utilizing EquiSearch. Many law enforcement across this nation have utilized the help of EquiSearch. So I understand why they're not using United Cajun Navy. I don't like United Cajun Navy because, in all fairness, I spoke to one of them and they gave me the history of the Cajun Navy 2016. That is a lie, and that pissed me off. And I will not speak highly of the United Cajun Navy again. The Cajun Navy 2016, if they're the ones that are asking to be a part of this, we will support that outfit. But that is a completely different nonprofit. That is the original nonprofit for the Cajun Navy. And so again, I don't expect lay people to understand it. That's why I do the research, but I have researched this extensively. I do know what I'm talking about. And it pisses me off that media, mainstream media, is not explaining this to their audience, because there are two different outfits here, and the United Cajun Navy is not the Cajun Navy. Period. So I wanted to get that clarified. Give me just a second. Let me get back up here. This thing popped up too much. Thank you for that. Hey, Teresa. It's nice to see you. I hadn't seen you. Candy, good morning. The intention was kidnapping. It went wrong and turned into a homicide. If you return Nancy's body, that would raise a lot of points. Yeah, it would. Well, think about it. If she comes home, that does. No matter how you look at it, if somebody does the right thing, that always gives them points. You're never going to get out of this. It's just going to be a matter of time. Yeah, they've stumped law enforcement for this long, but this is still very new in the case. It's only a matter of time before your number's up. So you should never wait till it gets to that point, because then everything from that point is disingenuous. And they're going to constantly say, well, you know what? We had to do it the hard way. They're going to tell the judge, yeah, we gave everybody an opportunity to come forward and tell us the truth, so we could work with them. I mean, the difference between a first-degree homicide and a second-degree homicide is death. I mean, you would want to work with them if you have committed this. Yeah, you're not going to escape culpability. You're not going to escape responsibility, but we're trying to save your life here. And you think that you're going to be able, that you're dumbass? You think you're a dumbass. You're an absolute dumbass that doesn't probably have a very good education, and you honestly believe you're going to keep law enforcement at bay forever. I mean, even dumbasses know that that's illogical. So the knock is coming. Why are you going to wait until the knock before you cooperate? Because I'm going to tell you, when that knock comes, it's too late to cooperate. It's too late. It's too late. So anybody that's out there that's responsible for this and everything went wrong and you think you're being good if you just lay low, it's going to just roll over. It's not. It's not. And I can tell you, living with this on your shoulders is never fun. I know. I don't know, but I know. I've talked to many people that have had a lot of baggage, and they're looking over their shoulders constantly, wondering when that knock is coming. It eats them up, turns them into drug addicts, alcoholics, has them do all types of terrible stuff to themselves until that knock comes. Your life's going to be miserable. You're never going to taste the same. Food's never going to look the same. The smell's never going to be the same. Everything in your life from this point forward is done. Even though you're out here, you're still shackled up because you're still waiting for that knock to come. You'll never truly be free. From this point forward, it's just you're going to be in your own brain, your own head, going nuts. It's like being in purgatory on steroids. No place to go, no escape. It's just there. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Always in your brain, always thinking, always remembering, knowing that you can't play this, you can't fake this. Every time somebody looks at you, they know. Every time they look at you, they know. They see. And you know they know. You know they're getting that weird feeling, that hair on the back of their neck that stands up every time they walk by you. They know. They know. They know. Even your mama knows. Even your mama knows. It's time to change your ways. So let's listen to the rest of what this guy has to say, and then we're going to be done. I've got to get moved on. We only got a few more moments.
If you know or think you know anything about the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, please dial toll-free 800-225-5324.
There you go, guys. There's $1.2 million. $1.2 million. Somebody knows something. I gotta tell you. If you know something and you're too loyal to call, you're what I call a dumbass. Okay, you're too loyal. You're too loyal to go get paid. You're a dumbass. Let Mama Betty help you out. Quit being a dumbass. Pick up that phone. Right? Call 1-800. Call FBI. Collect your $1.2 million. It's just that simple. If you want to be anonymous, get your number. They'll have a bag of cash waiting for you. 520-882-7463. Folks, somebody knows where Nancy Guthrie went. Somebody knows what happened to her. But you know what? Maybe we are looking at this wrong. Maybe he really was working alone. Maybe that's why we're having a hard time locating him, because he was smart. He didn't involve a third party. You know that if there was anybody else involved, somebody might be singing like a canary. Who knows? Hey, Lady for Justice, nice to see you. Hey, Hawk. Who knows? But if he was working by himself, he has a friend that he phoned. He has a trusted cousin, mommy, daddy. Somebody got a phone call. Somebody got a phone call with a very worried something. Oh, I messed up. I messed up big. What'd you do? I can't tell you. Anxious. Doesn't know what to do. Crying. Can't believe they did this. Somebody got a call. Somebody got a call. If they're working with somebody, there's no way that they're keeping this silent from people. There's no way. I don't believe it. Somebody's heard something. The boyfriend, girlfriend, if you're a woman and you're with a piece of garbage, D, and you know something, baby, get paid. He ain't worth it. This is, nice home, nice car, don't have to put up with another man's BS anymore. Money. Go get paid. Go get paid, honey. You deserve it. You and your child deserve it. That's what needs to happen. Women, if you know anything, you guys need new shoes. You need to go get your new shoes. Okay? Your new house. Hell, with this kind of money, you can be riding down the road in your Bentley. Okay? I'm just saying. Go get paid. Go get paid. I'm telling you, if I had an opportunity like this, if this found, I wouldn't want anybody being hurt, but if I had some intel, I'm getting paid. I don't know about you. Didn't I tell you I'm a snitch? I don't mind. I stand on my platform and tell people all the time I'm a snitch. Don't involve me in your crime. But if I knew about something, I'd be getting $1.2 million today. I would not be blinking an eye. I would not be thinking about it. $1.2 million does not buy loyalty. Okay? That ends my loyalty to anybody. $1.2 million, it's time for my bank to get fat. It sounds horrible, but you know what? Sometimes people need to be off the fence. Let me mule kick you off that damn fence. Let me mule kick you off that damn fence. Anyways, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And for Keith, I'll call you my appointment, so it'll probably be around 11:30, between 11:30 and 12. So just be on the lookout, and that's Eastern Standard Time. Be on the lookout for my call. All right, guys, well, we'll see you soon. Where's the ransom notes? Why haven't we seen them? It sounds like, is there a possibility of one of those ransom notes being legitimate? If it is, well, we got ourselves a different perspective here. Maybe one that's not a lone person. You know, something that might be multiple people. Maybe we're looking at a walkie-talkie, not a jammer. All right, guys, we will see you soon. Again, take care until then.